Welcome to the I Love You More podcast, where we learn...
Wait, you can't just make up a slogan in the middle.
Shanny.
Steve.
What up?
Shanny, Steve, what up?
Hey guys, welcome to the I Love You More podcast.
We're still talking about the title. The I Love You More podcast is okay. We're going to be hanging out with you and...
You're sweating so much!
I just got out of the shower. When I get out of the shower, I sweat. I run hot. Sorry, y'all. I sweat.
Oh my goodness.
If you're watching this, you'll see that I sweat. I sweat a lot. This is our first podcast. This is April now, and we're welcoming you back. We're sorry we have been out of commission for a very long time.
Yeah, a long time.
And the reason being, it's nothing too crazy. It's just that we were busy, like legitimately busy.
Yeah.
So that's that. But as you can see, we have a new place. We have a condo we bought. So we're moving on up, people. I'm sweating. We'll give you a tour at a later date. Maybe. Once we get it all designed and set up and all that stuff. Should you or should you not leave your job is the main topic of today. But before we get into that, we want to get into why are we even doing this podcast? Why are we doing this podcast, Baby Cakes?
Podcast, to me, makes me nervous because first, it's something new. And I don't like to talk much. I kind of like to listen. But one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast, because I feel like when Stephen and I have conversations, I want to share those conversations with the world because it's really good stuff. Sometimes we really come up with good stuff, like good advice for relationships or just your personal life in general. And we don't always capture that on tape.
So basically saying we're awesome. We want the whole world to know that we're awesome. Is that what you're saying? Yeah? So that's why we're doing this podcast. We're awesome and we want you to know it. But no, we want to share some of the good things that we think, and maybe we can share the stuff that you have as well. Your good ideas and your high points and your low points too that people can learn from. Whatever you want to share, go ahead and share with us. We're at Shanny Steve TV on Instagram, so you can DM us there. We have a section called Black Excellence. Each week, we want to highlight Black excellence or say what we think people need to hear when it comes to Black excellence. We saw a couple things this week that really sparked an idea.
Right.
Elizabeth Holmes. Am I right?
Elizabeth Holmes, though. There is an HBO special on her story.
Yeah.
Basically, she is a 34-year-old woman who went to a really prestigious college, Stanford, right?
Yeah, she went to Stanford.
And she had this really brilliant idea where with a drop of blood, you can do up to 200 tests. And she took this very far. I think she got like upwards of $1 billion in investments. Is that what they said?
Over 900 million, yeah. Close to $1 billion.
And so it didn't work. That's the basis of it. It came out that her machines, because she had like a machine that she called the Edison that was supposed to do all these tests on just a drop of blood. Like, this was supposed to be like the new best thing because it was cheaper and people found that they didn't have to go in for long like lines for labs and stuff like that. It
literally was going to revolutionize the healthcare industry.
Right.
Yeah.
She got so many people on board with this thing, like so many investors.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to name a few. I think I have them here.
Yeah. But it was like Secretary of Defense's.
Yeah. So it was like Henry Kissinger. Oh, Betsy DeVos. Rupert Murdoch. Walmart's Waltons. Like, these are people who invest in a lot of things and they're well up there in the world. They all invested in her company and basically they lost all of their money because it just came to nothing. But anyway, her documentary came out. There's also a 2021 that also explains like her backstory, which I think is probably I don't know if it's better.
I like the 2021 a little better. The HBO one is cool. but it kind of just goes into the business side and how her business failed.
Right.
But 2021 really hits her personality and all that.
Right.
So when you're watching it, on the surface, it's just kind of like, man, this girl's crazy. How did she do all this? And the belief in herself is on some, like...
Next.
Yeah, on some sociopath type levels because it can't work. Like, her machine does not work, and it can't work. To be able to put this blood, all the stuff you do in a lab, she tried to put it in a box the size of a small, I don't know, 2 shoe boxes or something. It wasn't very big. She's, I guess, out of jail right now, but she's, I guess, a court case is coming up for her fraud, like business fraud. And she's out here looking for investor money.
She is. She's doing something else.
That's
of course,
not
she's not going to tell anybody what she's doing, or maybe she did. I don't know.
I would say the audacity of this woman is on some next level.
It is. And then her mission was to become a billionaire. And she did. Like, she was worth a lot of money in the Forbes
had her at, I think, $4 billion?
Yeah.
I think $4 billion. Yeah. And then now they have her at zero. Yeah. At $0. Yeah. She's worth $0. And her company has been dissolved. So, when we say that, we're not saying go ahead and follow Elizabeth Holmes because that would be bad and stupid. What we got, or at least me personally, what I got from Elizabeth Holmes is you have to believe in what you are pushing, no matter what it is.
Right.
And no matter what goal you have, you have to believe in what you're pushing, because her belief levels were, sociopathic.
She believed in her product so much, and I don't think it was necessarily lying all the time. Like, she believed that this was going to work eventually.
Outside looking in, it's mad lying. But in her head, she's not lying.
Right.
Which is why I say she's a sociopath. Right. Because she's believing all the stuff she's putting out. Like, she could probably pass a lie detector test.
Right.
Because she's believing everything she's saying, even though it's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
So just the hard work and the work she put in there, I would say go ahead and take that little, just sliver off that little bit from Elizabeth Holmes, just that little bit, that work ethic, just sliver off just a little bit of that. Yeah. Everything else you can throw away.
She didn't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I struggle with as well. Like, when I hear no, I think no always. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way. It could just be no right now.
Yeah. You know what? I got the same feeling from the guys who did the Fire Festival.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, the Fire Festival is the similar thing. If you don't know about the Fire Festival, long story short, this guy started this company where they were going to do a music festival in, I think it was Bahamas or the Barbados. I forgot some Caribbean island. I forgot what island it was.
Was it the Cayman Island?
Maybe. I forgot what island it was. But there basically is going to be a really high class, expensive festival, and Ja Rule was a co-founder of it. And it was all, he believed in the beginning he can get it done, but it was just too much. He bit off way too much, and then he kept on going even though it was obvious it's not going to work.
Right.
So he had some little bit of sociopathic things in there too, where it's like, dude, this is 1 + 1 = 2. It's not going to work.
And then also, like, what flabbergasts me is that after they get indicted, after they go to jail, after they get in trouble, they go back and they try to find money.
That is
both of them, even the fire guy.
Yeah, they're still looking for money. The fire guy, he was out on bail and he was running another scam and
through somebody else.
Yeah, some New York club thing where you can get exclusive passes to concerts you cannot get tickets to. It was like Hamilton tickets. It's like, dude, no one's getting Hamilton. No one's giving away Hamilton tickets. That's not a thing. You just made that up. But he would do it. And that level of brashness and belief is kind of crazy. But I say, listen, we go ahead and take a little sliver of that. Just a little. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think as black people, we get told no a lot. And so the hope that is there is very realistic for us. And I think we need to have a little bit of unrealistic.
You got to be a little bit delusional.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You got to be grounded in reality still.
Right.
But have beliefs that say, I can do this, even though nothing in your
vicinity
says that you are capable of doing this.
Right.
You have to believe that, you know what? I can fly a plane.
Right.
Have you ever flown a plane before? Nah, but
Right.
I can fly a plane. Is it impossible for me to fly a plane? No. So acting from a place of possibility, I think, is where I want to be, and I want to make sure everybody around me is the same way as too.
Right.
So that's Black Excellence. We just hope you take a little bit from Elizabeth Holmes, just a little bit of good, and take what you can from that. It's like we do with everything. You know, not everything's great. Right. So we want to talk about what we watched this week.
Right.
And two things came to mind. First, let's talk about Queer Eye. Now, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was a show that came out, I don't know what, 90s or something, early 2000s. I don't know. I never watched it. I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know nothing. I was like, Queer for a Straight Guy? Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Wasn't for me. I'm watching this thing on Netflix. Is there anything more positive than this show?
Right. The amount of positivity that these men exude. Like, some people are so depressed, but when they come in contact with these people, like, they just have to play along.
Yeah.
Or like, they're just so positive.
They're just smacking you over the head with positivity that you just have to succumb to it.
Right. And there's 5 guys, and they're called the Fab Five. One of them is like a designer, interior designer. Another one of them works on your inner life. One of them works on your house. One of them works on your clothing. One of them works on your hair. And the other one works on your food. Like healthy lifestyle, right? And at the end of the week, I think it's a week they're with them, right? And who can really change in a week? But they do these transformations that are like, oh my goodness. Yeah,
like these guys, and they look legit different. Like, they look happier, and it's a makeover, you know? It's a makeover. Right. It's ultimately a makeover show. Right. So they make over every facet of your life, and it's just really positive how they
really
do
positive.
So,
they tell everybody that they love them. They give hugs. They do group hugs. They have sayings that are like
they're hilarious. It's
hilarious,
good stuff.
hilarious.
I'm planning to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's really cool.
It's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and I dare you not to cry. I dare you, because I had to hold back tears a couple times.
Yeah.
In that, especially in that church episode with the lady, Mama, what her name is.
Yeah,
that was really good. So check it out. It's on Netflix, called Queer Eye. The second thing we want to talk about that we just saw this weekend, is Us.
I don't want to talk about Us.
She doesn't want to talk about Us because she didn't like Us.
I don't like scary movies. I appreciate the fact that it's a film with the stars being black, and it's a scary movie, which we don't see often. But I don't know what it is. Like, I don't.
But you like to Get Out.
I was okay with Get Out. Like, I could not see Get Out and be okay.
Okay.
But, like, Us was just too much for me. Like, to where I, like, closed my eyes and fell asleep. Because I'm like, I'm going to close my eyes at this part, and this part. And this part never ended. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just close my eyes.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened.
I've seen scarier movies. I'm not a big scary movie person. I don't go looking for scary movies. But this one has black people in it, and I love Lupita and Winston Duke and Jordan Peele. So I was like, I gotta go check this out.
And the kids were so cute.
The kids were cute, and they were great. And I think across the board, well acted. Elizabeth Moss is fantastic. I love her in The Wife, the show.
Is that the white girl?
Yeah, on Hulu show. We watch it.
Oh!
Handmaid's Tale.
That's her?
That's the lead in Handmaid's Tale.
No way!
That's the lead in Handmaid's Tale.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, it's the lead. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's good. And she's really good in it too. But overall, I liked the movie. I feel like there's a lot of holes in it. Like, there are certain things just unanswered. You kind of walk away like, what? I'm not going to spoil the movie. I'm not even going to talk about it much more. All I'm going to say is, if you like horror movies, go ahead and watch it. It's a good horror flick. There's a lot of don't take Shanny's advice. She does not. She's totally has no objective opinion on this. But there's a lot of deep things. It's sort of like Get Out. Get Out has a lot of attention to details and a lot of and sign and symbolism.
Well, that's what I liked about Get Out, because it had a lot of like details. This us.
It did. This had it too. I mean, you close your eyes a lot of times, so you missed a lot of it.
Okay.
But it has.
I got the gist.
It has a similar amount of details, attention to detail that Get Out has, and the acting again is phenomenal.
A similar amount.
A similar amount. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot in there that's like, oh shoot, okay, this is what you mean. Okay. And there's some other things that you can sort of read into. I'm not sure if Jordan Peele was really down for.
Well, that was the same thing with Get Out, because I remember when we saw the movie, or I don't remember. Yeah. We saw the movie and we were kind of like, that was good. And then when we read... Yeah.
After we read it, we're like, oh, this movie's great!
Yeah. After we read, like, articles and stuff.
Same thing with us, for me at least. When I watched it, I was like, this is cool. Some things I didn't get. But I watched reviews and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this movie's a lot better than I thought it was. But still, there's still some unanswered things. So I will say, I will recommend it. I will say, go ahead and see it. Go ahead and support Jordan Peele because he's dope and I think he's brilliant.
If you don't like horror films, still support it.
Still support it. Why not?
Just go to sleep. Like, take a nap.
Our main topic is this. Should you or should you not leave your job? Now, the reason why this is a topic is because, well, both of us are trying to leave our jobs right now, like our full-time jobs. We both work full-time. We're trying to leave our jobs. I'm going to be leaving my job. Because I'm working on a film project that's going to take me out of the job. I'm 100% sure of it. Shanny, on the other hand, has a full-time job, and she's the breadwinner of this house. She makes the money. More money than I do. So should you or should you not leave your job when you're in that situation? Your husband, your spouse, or whatever is the breadwinner, or you are the breadwinner, and you're not happy. Is that what that is? Mm-hmm. Not happy, not fulfilled. What do you do?
Right. I think this is a topic that has brought so much strife and so much thought and so many emotions. I struggle with it. I struggle with knowing when the right time to leave my job. I do not like my job. So I'm not even going to say that I'm okay with my job. I do not like my job. I'm really good at it, though. So that kind of helps with staying there. But I'm really unhappy. But what do you do when you are the breadwinner and you want to leave your job and you don't have another job lined up? Like, what do you do at that point? Do you stay in your job, which is what I've been doing for the last umpteen years? Or do you just up and leave and then hope something else comes? So right now I'm at the point where I want to leave my job. I'm trying to get something else. I don't necessarily want to work full time, but I think the requirements of our household is probably my full time.
I think you
income.
can work part-time when we make it.
And this is the problem that we have. Because Steven is so, like, we have two completely and totally different personalities. I have to plan before I go and do anything, and he is just like,
I'm not meh.
It'll work out.
I'm not meh.
I mean, it will work out. Like, just leave. Or I'll say to him, like, I'm really unhappy and I want to leave my job. And he'll just be like, well, then leave.
Yeah.
As though it's that easy. It's easy in like just saying it, but the income that goes with leaving the job does not help our family at all. So I struggle with that.
This is the thing. I think I lived my whole life with faith and a little bit of recklessness. So I always border on that line. So sometimes, I know nowadays, since I'm older now, I know when I'm being reckless and I know when I'm being faithful. So when I was younger and I used to say it to you, I was probably being reckless. I was probably just saying something just to say something because I was like, I just want you to be happy. But now when I say it, it's coming from a place of faith. I know for sure now because I know that line. I know when I'm being ridiculous and when I'm being like, all right, first of all, you can go part-time and still afford this house. Now, will we be able to save as much? Will we be able to go out as much? We'd have to see, you know what I mean? And I think that goes for everybody, even who's listening, you know what I mean? Like, you have to make a plan. I know I do make plans. Like you have to go through and sort of and see like what can I do without? What do I want? What do I need?
I don't want to do without.
Yeah. But I mean, there's certain things like in that transition, and then you got to start making out what the transition is. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you have a transition in mind.
Right.
And you're working on it, but it's going to take some time to build that. So it's a matter of having that faith to make that leap of faith out of something that you're not happy with.
Stephen has, okay, so in our lifetime, I have been very blessed to be able to provide for myself, to be able to do things for myself that have moved us forward, or me forward. And Stephen, he's done the same, but he also gets these like little, like God.
Listen.
Like these little,
my God's a good God.
He gets these like these God gifts.
They're lucky breaks.
Yeah, and
well, it's not lucky because my God's a good God.
I don't get those. I feel like I don't get those.
You get those.
I mean, I have an amazing life, and so for me, that is my God gift. But I don't get those breaks.
You get those breaks.
I don't get those breaks. I really don't get those breaks. And so I feel like, is it stupid of me to leave the job and not have those breaks? Like never have those breaks? Or is that taking a leap of faith?
Okay. I think, personally for me, I always think about like, if I'm too comfortable, I'm not growing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that way as well.
Yeah. And you working at 9 to 5, working a job you do, making the money you do, that is like a pillow under the head, even though you don't like the pillow. It's comfortable for you because that's what you're used to.
Right.
Again, you don't like it, but it's comfortable. So there's no way you can grow in that job. I mean, even in the position that you're in, you physically can't grow. Like there's no positions ahead. Right. And you can't grow mentally and all that stuff either. So I feel like the next step for you is to take that leap of faith, is to be bold, is to do something that you've never done before that scares the hell out of you.
Leaving scares me because I think of everything. I think of health insurance. I think of something happening to the house where we have to pay for it, taking a big chunk of change that we need for our mortgage.
Sidebar. We owed a lot of taxes this year. A lot of taxes. And I'm not for it. I don't know what this president is doing, but we owed a lot of taxes.
We did.
That's a sidebar. I am not happy about it. You see his finger? You see this finger? I think the next step, when you're in that position where you don't like your job, again, this is my opinion, though I think I'm right. The next step, when you're in that position, when you're teetering where it's just like, yo, I cannot handle this commute. I cannot handle my coworkers. I just snapped at my coworker because they just looked at me funny. Like, you are not in the right place mentally.
Right.
You take some time and decide what you're going to do. Take the weekend, take the nights, take the commute home, and figure out what you're going to do. Make a plan. Set it up. Set out, okay, 3 months from now, I'm out. And if those 3 months you say, I'm going to find another job, I'm going to find a part-time job just so I can, sustain
sometimes it's
my
not
life.
That easy to be like,
it's
I'm
absolutely not that easy. For a lot of people, it's not that easy. For you, it's kind of not easy, but it's easier because you're a nurse. And nurses be getting work. Probably more than any profession in the country. Am I wrong there? I'm not wrong there. Am I wrong there? I don't think I'm wrong there. So I feel like if you're in a situation where you are on the brink of deciding what, make a plan, set it up, and in the process of making that plan and setting your life forward, you'll start to think differently. You'll start to be a little happier because it's like you have a vision that you laid out. So in those 3 months, in that 6 months, even say year, whatever it is, you'll be like, all right, in a year, I'm out this. I'm out of this in a year. Mm-hmm. And you set your life up. And you make plans and you set your would be getting a job or starting a business or doing whatever it is, or traveling, whatever you want to do, or saving up so you can do whatever you want, whatever it is.
I will say it's a lot easier for me to make that decision because I don't have children yet. I think you have to talk to your spouse and kind of come up with a plan with your spouse. Don't just be like, I'm not happy, I'm going to leave the job because I'm not happy. And a happier me means a happier you.
Yeah.
And then not know where to go from there. Because ultimately, like realistically, you need money to survive. You need money to pay bills. You need money to eat and all of that stuff for your family. So a plan has to be made. Sacrifices have to be made on both ends. And that's why it's important to have a supportive spouse. Because sometimes without a supportive spouse...
All the time. You gotta have supportive spouse.
Well, that's the thing. The thing about supportive spouses too. I don't want to say like, okay, supportive spouses are always supportive. Because that's not the case.
That's true.
Like sometimes it's like, I'm not going to support that because I don't believe that that's the right way to go because of whatever upbringing they had, whatever thoughts they've had about whatever. This is probably the proper way to go. And you guys bicker and bump heads. I think it's important that you understand and know that you're on the same page, that you constantly are in communication with your spouse about what the mission is for your relationship and for your family
and your finances and all that too.
Right.
Because like, and for the person, this goes for married couples, couples who are living together, any couple that's together, a long-term relationship. For the person who's not leaving the job, you have to step up and figure out what you can do. If it's a side hustle, if it's taking overtime, what you have to do to make up for your spouse's or your boyfriend, girlfriend's happiness. Because that has to take precedence.
What has to take precedence?
The other person's happiness. It does. Because if I'm putting you up, I'm trusting that you're putting me up.
Well, yeah, in that sense, yes.
Yeah.
But the argument could be made that you're not putting my happiness first by leaving your job. Because if that person values the income that's coming in.
But you can't value income more than your spouse's happiness.
Right, but what about if your spouse's happiness is the income coming in? No, I mean, like, there's no black and white way to say that. Like, yes, you want your spouse's happiness to come first, but what if your happiness is infringing on my happiness?
Wait.
Like, what if that's the case? I'm just saying.
Wait, so if I made $0, you just would love me less?
Wait, what?
If I made $0, you just love me less?
Why are you saying that?
No, because he said the other person's happiness has to be more important than your happiness, than your personal happiness.
Right.
So if the other person's happiness is leaving their job, that is the most important thing.
Okay.
So how can you make that happen? Okay, I gotta take overtime, or I gotta get part-time. I
understand that, but what if you feel like you have a lot on your plate already, right?
And that's impossible?
And them leaving their job is just going to put more on your plate. Would you feel that they're putting your happiness first? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it's like, it's not a black and white thing where it's like, okay, your happiness comes first because I know you're putting my happiness first. What if your happiness infringes on my happiness? And you going for your happiness seems to me like you don't care about my happiness.
Well, I mean, this is where compromises come in, right?
Right.
Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like compromise is where you need to go. Not necessarily like, okay, your happiness, this, let me sacrifice this, that. Like, you have to make sure that your spouse is okay with, and if they're not okay with, how can we make this okay? Because I really feel like this is going to help me to be a better person if I leave this job or if you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But I think there has to be some compromise in that. Because, like, I see what you're saying. I guess there is no black and white.
There's no black and white, because then think about it too. Like, say somebody's springing this on you, right? Like, say I decide to get a new computer, I got a new phone, I got new glasses, and...
What, without telling somebody?
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm getting these things because, like, it's budgeted for, but I'm also under the impression that the money's going to be coming in the same way. And then you spring on me 2 days later.
Oh, I'm finna leave.
I'm leaving my job.
I'm finna get up out this.
I'm like, well, if I knew that you were leaving your job, I wouldn't have bought this, I wouldn't have bought that, I wouldn't have bought that. You're not communicating with me that this is the case. So a compromise may be, okay, can you stay in that job for 6 months? And then maybe we can work this out during that 6 months or 3 months or 2 months or...
Yeah, I think this stuff, like, as you're going down the I hate my job, it has to be communicated to your person, to your whatever. Because if not, you're asking for trouble. If you're just bubbling, guys, we do this a lot, where we just hold stuff in, and it just bubbles on the surface, and then one day we just snap and we're like, I'm leaving my job, and you start doing weird stuff. Don't do that, because I feel like that's not cool. And then you're putting your spouse, your loved one, in a really difficult situation.
Right.
But if you're like communicating with them, like you communicate to me probably every day, I hate my job. As I'm driving her to work, she's like quiet and just sad. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm taking a kid to school, but she doesn't want to go to school. It's funny, actually. But, and she walks away. Her shoulders are all slumped as she walks into her job. Yeah, but she communicates to me all the time. I do not like this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. And she set up a plan to leave, but she still has that like hesitancy to go, because you've been a nurse for how long now?
I've been
12 years?
Yeah.
12 years. 12 years.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. 12 years of being a professional in one job, working full time.
It was not one job.
All right.
Okay.
Right, my bad. 3 different hospitals.
I moved around.
She worked at 3 different hospitals.
I worked my way around, okay?
Yes. And you do the thing. You do the damn thing.
I would say this is a God gift. Like, everything I wanted in a job, I've gotten. But I also feel like he gave me that to realize that this is not the true job that I want you to do with your life.
Yeah.
So I would say that's my God gift.
Yeah, we all know. We'll know what we're doing, but we're doing it, which is a lesson for everyone watching. Yeah. Do, even though you don't know what the hell you're doing, like Elizabeth Holmes.
Exactly.
And that's what you should take away from this podcast
today.
Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for, if you got this far, good looks. We appreciate it. Every week we're going to have a challenge, a relationship challenge. This is it. Mission statement.
Make a mission statement with your spouse.
It could be 2 or 3 sentences that basically outlines the purpose of your relationship. Whatever it is, if you're together just to have fun, if you're together to build a nice family, if you're together to take over the world and be billionaires, whatever it is, build a mission statement that both of you agree on and are in line with. We have a mission statement, but we forgot it.
We did forget it, but we'll revise it.
Alright, so thank you for watching, guys. Shanny, Steve, we out.